in that week when I started, I went to the first missile site visit and tour, which sort of very soon when I walked down into the basement there, I thought, oh my God, I need to rub these. These are much more interesting than the window, or sort of unusual, or it seemed a really great opportunity to be so near to a site like that. So it kind of started like that. Surface print rubbing, whatever it does to me. With the window, it would have been sort of skin between the inside and the outside. And to a degree, the same thing happens with this sort of image of the missile and the whole sinister underbelly of the whole headlands, or the whole military pass generally, I suppose. So there's a sort of inside-outside surface thing which works actually very similarly to the window, I think. Because it's that kind of layered meaning of, you know, the image of something and the recognition of something, and then what it actually means, and all the things you don't know about what it really, really means. And even the people who work there might not know everything it means. So there's all this sort of speculation. And then they're quite figurative, so they work on all sorts of other levels. People relate them to gravestone rubbings a lot, because they're on the floor probably in the first place, and they look quite figurative, like a sort of man and a woman. Well, when I started talking to them and I said to Holly I'd be really keen to find some archive photographs to do with the headlands or with the missile site, because of course we are in part of the whole, that site, the personnel used to live in these buildings. You know, there'd be soldiers in this very room, there'd be bunk beds, and there's photos there. I've got loads more. I've just scanned a few to work over them, and basically what I've done is to sort of delete in a very obvious way with sort of correction tape and inks, to make the bunkers or people in it or missiles in it. I mean, I've only started this, but to somehow delete them but make them more visible. I think once you come through that tunnel, you do get a sense of this sort of very dark, sinister side of this place, even though it's gorgeous and beautiful, and you know that it's got a lot of beautiful things about the landscape, but there is this kind of sense of what could have potentially happened here that never did happen, of course. And in a way, I was always really interested in the radar concept of a radar as well, because the way they could detect, you know, I think they only detected some geese and things like that. But this kind of invisible reaching out to something in the air. And, these are just sort of test photographs. When you go down into the storage, they have 7 missiles in this, normally pitch black cellar space. However, if you went to visit, you'd go down in the lift with a missile, so there'd be daylight coming in, they'd have the door open and the lights on. So I didn't experience that moment until they gave me the key to pick up my graphite and my paper or something to see, here, you go and get it yourself. So I deliberately didn't switch the light on, and it was the most bizarre atmosphere of this sort of deep sea creatures coming towards you, and it was just really extraordinary. I mean, it's, in a way, it's probably something that my work tends to do, to sort of look for, even in the landscape pieces, to kind of have this very beautiful image that has this sort of quite morbid underside, or there might be, you might look through something to find a really, you know, different context of something quite sinister. But it's kind of that kind of layering that I'm interested in, I think, that nothing is quite one or the other.